Hi, I'm Victor, the main organizer of the Full Stack Flutter conference. On this channel we publish the best talks from the conference every week throughout the year, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. I'm also the founder of Serverpod, so if you want to build your backend in Dart, make sure to check that out too. Saka is a passionate Flutter developer. In this talk we'll learn about the best practices for building CLI applications. Let's dive in!
We all know that Flutter is an awesome framework, but how about the language Flutter sits on? That is that. Hi, my name is Saka, and join me to explore that beyond Flutter. Today, I just want to talk about building CLI apps with Flutter. These are the things we'll go through. That's beyond Flutter. What exactly is that beyond Flutter? That is a versatile programming language primarily associated with Flutter for building cross-platform mobile, web, and desktop application. However, that can also be used for other purposes apart from Flutter. People have built so many awesome frameworks with that. As you can see, we have backend frameworks and CLI applications built with that. Some of them are Pharaoh, Serverpod, Get Server, Shell, very good CLI, Mason, Flutter Genesis, TCLI, and so much more. Are you ready to build yours? Let's get started. Before we start building, we need to know what CLI apps are. CLI stands for Command Line Interface. This is basically a textual interface that you can use to interact with your computer. That's as simple as it is. Now, why is CLI that so important? It's because that gives you, just like the way it does with Flutter, it gives you out-of-the-box options to build your CLI app, and I'm going to demonstrate. But before I demonstrate, I want to show you guys some things you would see when building your CLI apps, and it's basically these three: add options, add flags, and add command. So, what are flags? Flags are basically boolean switches that either enable or disable a certain behavior or feature. An example that I'm very sure everyone is familiar with is Flutter Run. Flutter Run, basically you can run with verbose mode if you want to have more console information to know what's going on at that time. That dash verbose or -v is called flag because you are basically enabling verbose mode or disabling verbose mode. And another example is when you're trying to force push to GitHub. You can push normally or force push. So that's basically what flags are. Now, the next thing is options. Options basically allow users to provide additional data or parameters to a command. An example is Firebase deploy -- hosting your site. Basically, hosting and your site are options because you can basically do Firebase deploy only and it will go. But then when you want to streamline additional data parameter, you add, but I just want to deploy hosting and I want to deploy this site only. That is what options are. Options allow you to add additional parameter to a command. Now, what are commands? Commands are basically, as we know, Flutter run is a command, git commit, git push, git pull, those are commands. What the add command option, as I showed earlier, does is to basically help you package and streamline this command into subcommands. An example where I use git commit, git push, and git pull is these are different commands. Now imagine this all in your main.dat file. It's going to get clumsy. That is what add command does for you. Add command basically helps you like organize, allows you to organize your CLI application into structures. That is what they are doing. Got it? Now let's build our first Flutter app. To do that, I'm going to switch over to my VS Code, and then as we all know, to build or to start or to create a project, we are going to do Command Shift P if you are not using VS Code. Sorry. Do that new project, select CLI project, and because we are at full stack conference, we are going to name our project full. Okay, so I'm trying to build a very simple app, which is a URL shortener app, and so I'm going to call this full URL. Very simple. And we're going to wait for the magic to happen. As I said, that provides this out of the box. Let's try to run this that gave us. To do that, I'm going to open up my terminal and then do this to do that. Then say full URL of that. It's that simple. Now remember we learned about flags and options. Let's add a flag. And a flag that has been defined here is help. Let's do help. Out of the box, our CLI app understands this. Now, how does that happen? It happens with the Axe package. The Axe package provides like an out of the box Axe parser that makes it easier to detect basically what people are passing to your CLI command. What it's doing here is looking for anywhere that the user defined help, and it found it. And then here we say when you see help, print usage. And in our method, we are saying print usage, which we can see here, and then we print the usage information. It's that simple. And this is for verbose if you want to enable verbose mode or not. Now, also we can decide to, let's say we want to add an option, as I mentioned. Option, sorry, add option, and then I'm going to call this option, let's call it conference. I can add the abbreviation C and say it basically welcomes you to that land. Okay, now I can come here and then tell my app parser whenever you see conference, print out welcome to full stack conference. And then, yeah, let's try to run. Let's save this and then try to run this and say, well, conference. And say welcome. Can you see it welcomed us to full stack conference? That's how easy it is to build CLI app. Let's proceed to build our URL shortener app. And to do that, I am going to introduce you guys to a method that comes out of the box. So basically, I'm building a CLI app, right? So let's use CLI app to, I'm going to be using the HTTP package. So I want to use the CLI app to add the HTTP package to my prospect.yaml file. How do I do that? I do process.run. I call this that, and then I do pub. Sorry, this is a list. I call this Another cool thing is I can select where I want this to run. So I'm going to say directory dot current dot path, right? Let's run this. As you can see, our HTTP package has been added to prospect.yaml file. Now, the first thing we need to do, let's remove this. First thing we need to do is to, well, get the URL we're trying to shorten. And to do that, we'll come here and say, change this option to URL, and then change this to URL. Change this to the URL to shorten, right? And then we can say URL. Let's set a string here that says URL, right? And then we can do this. So we say we'll do another check here that says if URL is equal to null. We want to let the user know they need to enter a URL, which brings me to my next method that I want to show you guys, and that is standard input. What this does is to collect inputs from user, and I need to read the URL, but then I can't just wait for this URL, right? So I can't just wait for this URL. So what I need to do is to, let the user know that, okay, you need to pass in a URL. So we're going to say enter a URL. That's simple. Let's try out what we've written so far. I'm going to clear this and also clear this and do this. Okay, I didn't add our URL. So I'm going to do -- URL. I'm going to remove this and run this again. Yeah, let's remove this. Now we have this, enter a URL. So I can say HTTP. Okay, before we do that, let's cancel this and basically have something here that says URL entered is this, right? Okay. I'm going to say HTTPS very, very long URL.com. As you can see, it got it and it printed it out for us. Great. I'm going to remove this. Just now we need to send this URL to shorten. And to do that, I am going to be using, I have a boilerplate code that I'm just going to copy and paste right here. All right. I'm going to import HTTP. And then await this. I'm going to change this to base URL. And then pass this. Okay. Let's try that. Actually, we need to also still add one more check right here and say that URL is not equal now. Do this. Okay. I didn't save. Okay, I also need to do this. And it's not empty. Okay, let's run it again. Right. But if I do this URL and then do HTTPS, very, very, very long URL.com. We have our shortened URL, and that's like the basic CLI app you can build. The next thing is to, well, package our URL builder. And there are three ways to do that. One is to publish to pub.dev, and another one is to compile it into executable file. But what we are going to be doing now is a way for us to run it locally. And to do that, we'll come here into our pub.dev, and we had a new field here called executables, and then call it full URL, which is the name of our Flutter, that app. And then we do that for global activate. So there are also three ways to activate your dat package. One is through Git, through pub.dev, and then locally. So I am going to be doing locally. So I will do activate and then do source path and say current path, right? And we have full URL ready to execute. So if I create a new command line and do full URL, our app is ready to use. https://www.google.com. Well, these are some packages that also help you build CLI apps faster. We have the missing logger that basically beautifies your prints, like the way we're printing URL entered, it just beautifies it better. Same thing with interact and things. And also we have CLI util. Thank you. I hope you were able to learn a thing or two about building CLI apps. If you want to learn more, you can connect with me on Twitter at Becca_Saka or on LinkedIn at Rebecca Saka. Bye.